primary school in Hackney, East London, 30 pupils from Year 5 and their teachers discover that exploring their local built environment is a great resource for learning.
Postbox. Now, have a look at your map. I want a phone box. Good.
Jubilee Primary School uses topic-based learning, and this term, every year group is looking at maps and mapping.
Right, let's zoom in from Earth.
Through looking at maps, we can use lots of different areas of the curriculum. We can touch on different areas. We've got literacy through questioning, speaking and listening, but also instruction writing and the general sort of approach to mapping.
Where do we live in London? What borough of London? The idea is that it makes the curriculum much more relevant to the children if you can link it in some way to a topic, but making sure that you're also following everything that's in the national curriculum. So that's the idea behind it, and it's worked really well so far.
Through the topic of mapping, Year 5 pupils will be exploring their local environment. To kick-start this study, the class is visiting the Building Exploratory in Hackney to find out about their area.
Well, what we're hoping to gain from the trip is just a sense of how do we get from A to B and putting that journey onto a map. And that should hopefully lead into some work about our local area, maybe the area around our school, and just mapping in general. How do we use maps? What makes a useful map?
The Building Exploratory is an urban study centre offering children the chance to learn about their borough through a series of large-scale models and maps.
My name is Amanda. I'll be taking you around this afternoon. Do you know what sort of things we'll be looking at?
We're going to be looking at journeys and mapping.
Mapping, that's right. We're going to be looking at lots of different kinds of maps, and I think we've got enough time for you to actually start making a map of your own. The aim is really that they will go and understand maps better, both in terms of being able to read them, but also to understand that the same place can be displayed in very different ways through maps. It will also raise the awareness of the area around them, because that could be the area around their school or around their home, and also the area in between.
Learning about their local area really provides them with an opportunity to actually engage and get a sense of place and a sense of ownership of the community that they live in.
Before looking at their own locality, Amanda begins by encouraging the class to think about where they are on a cosmic scale.
Okay, so if you look up on the ceiling, there's models of all the planets. So which one is the Earth? You're all pointing at it, but I kind of need someone to tell me what it looks like. Yeah?
It's blue and it's quite green, and there's a bit of white.
Blue and green and white. Okay, great. Okay, so have any of you seen a map like this one before?
Is that map from like up in space from a satellite?
Yes, well done. So where might you have seen a map like this one before, do you think? Yeah?
Sometimes you see it in the beginning. It looks like the one that you see in the beginning of EastEnders.
That's right. The bit that you see in EastEnders is this bit here, where the river makes a really big curve. Yeah? And now we're going to see whereabouts in London we are, the borough of London that we're in. In the universe, we're on planet Earth, and on planet Earth we're in Europe, and in Europe we're in the United Kingdom, and we're in England, and in England we're in London, and in London we're in Hackney. Okay, it's close to the little black one. You think you know?
This one.
Do you want to pick it up and have a look?
Hey, yes!
Yes! Well done!
The next stage of the workshop is to look at their borough in more detail.
Well, over there's a map of Hackney, so if you could all get up slowly and stand over there, please. Over there. So this is a big map of Hackney. Can you think of a place in Hackney that you all know, that you've all been to lots and lots of times?
School?
Yes, well done, your school.
everything was on such a big scale that obviously you could never have anything like that in a school environment. So just to see a map, a kind of 3D map of Hackney, to physically see where they've come from and gone to, and it really got them away from the bird's eye view of maps, which some children and some adults as well find really quite confusing.
Okay, now somewhere on here, because this is a model of Hackney, there's your school. So we're going to see if we can find your school. You all know north, south, east, west. Where do you think north is? Which way do you think? North is up there. Okay. So, is your school, do you think, in the north part of Hackney or in the south part of Hackney? North, south. Children don't really understand where they are. So all they know is, well, here's my house and there's school. And they don't even really know how exactly they get from one to the other. Sometimes it's even things like, oh, well, I got here in the back of my mum's car. And they have no idea how they got, what that actually entails. Would someone like to volunteer to go have a look for it and show me where it might be? So there's Springfield Park. Do you think so? It's somewhere in this area. Yeah, excellent. Yes, there's a little sign on it. It says Jubilee Primary School. So if you all want to come over here.
Well, the built environment is a tremendously rich resource and provides great learning opportunities for subjects right across the curriculum. And it provides so many opportunities for pupils to actively engage with and understand the world that they live in and how it's changed and how it's developed.
Draw your school in the middle and then draw the things around it. Now, there are no really strict rules. If you want to draw it bird's eye view, that's fine. If you want to draw it just one house and the house next to it and the house next to it, that's fine too.
They were asked by Amanda to draw a map of their local school, and it was quite interesting as I was just looking at them. A few of them didn't know the names of the roads, they didn't know the spellings of the roads, which are quite difficult, and it just sprung to mind that actually we don't actually know our local area that well at all. So it got us to thinking that maybe we should just really focus on our local area around the school.
At the end of the session, the maps are collected to be used as a starting point for follow-up lesson back at school.
The building exploratory trip really made the follow-up lesson much easier because they were engaged straight away. As soon as I said to them, do you remember the trip last week? They were there, they were switched on because they knew they enjoyed it. So that follows on, well, we enjoyed that, this must be a fun lesson too. I wanted to link it with the trip, so I used the maps that they had started at the building exploratory. So the idea was, okay, this is what we know from our memory, but now if we actually examine our local area, what can we add? If we look in detail, what do we actually see? What do we actually know? What can we actually learn? And can we make a useful map? Ah, now Jack spotted a road. What's the name of that road? Have a look at your map. Have you got a road called Forburg Road directly opposite the school gates, more or less?
We were looking at things that we haven't noticed and writing them down so we can, if someone wanted to use a map, then that would be a good map to use. And we're looking at road names and landmarks like post boxes and bus stops.
Ah, so can anyone see the spelling of Osbaldeston?
Yeah.
Where?
Up there.
Okay, have a look. Have you spelled the name right?
It helps your communication skills and your spellings of roads. It helps you not to be shy and it helps you to know your area more.
A post box. Now, have a look at your map. Oh, and a phone box. Good. Let's worry about the post box first. Where does it go on your map? Have a look. Is it on this side of the road?
It's on the other side.
It's on the other side of the road.
The best thing was I had more practice with my directions, so now I wouldn't get stuck on my lefts and my rights.
I definitely think it's a kind of lesson that most schools could do, because all you're doing really, all we did was just walk around the perimeter of the school. We didn't cross any busy roads. We didn't. There was no need for any bus journeys or anything. So it's just looking at our local area and just actually taking a step back and just examining what we have here, what facilities we have, and how we link in with our environment. Okay, so has everyone drawn the zebra crossing on the map? Yeah. Okay, let's walk down, see if there's anything else.
I've learnt how to instruct people to places, and I've learnt a lot more about this area because I don't actually live around here.
It was interesting to see that lots of them who walked to school had a far better understanding of the road names and the things like zebra crossings. Those that have driven to school every morning didn't have that knowledge. So that was interesting for those to share that knowledge with each other. Right, Taklima and Roma, what do you notice that we could add here? Taklima? Phone box. Okay.
Well, if you ask any child or any pupil, they would undoubtedly, and many teachers would as well, tell you that they would rather learn or be learning outside rather than stuck in the classroom, and that they would perhaps be more inspired by practical first-hand experiences than perhaps learning from books, and it's a much better way to learn about the world that you live in.
I think it's quite a good idea that we're doing things like that. So we get used to using maps, and because we use maps a lot, and I think that is quite a good idea.
Well, the curricular links from today's lesson are the obvious geographical skills of map reading, compass directions, left and right. But more than that, we've got instructions which we've been doing in literacy. So it's giving directions accurately in the correct chronological sequence, as well as all the mathematical skills that go along with map reading, so north, east, south, west. We could have brought in grid references if we had time. So yeah, it was a really wide range of cross-curricular links actually today. So we've practiced using our maps, giving directions to people, following instructions. So we've used all those skills that you will use all your life. You'll use mapping skills all through your life, so it's really useful. At Jubilee School, we always try to incorporate all the different learning styles that are out there. So today I felt was a really good opportunity to do that. So we had logical mathematical learners looking at map skills. We had bodily kinesthetic learners holding the cameras, actually looking, touching and feeling our local environment. We had the linguistic learners who really excelled in giving directions and receiving directions, giving them clearly and concisely, and there was spatial learning going on. There was all those different kind of styles all enveloped in that one lesson. So I think every child was able to access it.
Any school, I think, could use their environment, certainly to this extent, and mapping has so many different areas that you can approach it through, to just pull in every area of the curriculum and give the children the skills that they would need to go on and take those skills outside and use them outside in so many different ways.